Reminders, okay? This is the stuff we did on Friday. The equation, when we are doing hyperbolas, use subtraction, right? So it's either x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. Or, flip that around, y squared over b squared minus x squared over a squared equals 1. You don't even necessarily need to write that down. You have it in your notes. This is just me refreshing, okay? So that's nothing new. I feel like, I told this to my last class, the way I remember that hyperbolas have the subtraction is if you think of this as a letter H, the subtraction is just your bar across, right? Whereas if it was a plus, you don't think subtraction, you don't think the bar across. So if you need a way to remember, that's how I remember hyperbolas have the subtraction. How do you find the foci for a hyperbola problem? Do you add or subtract? You add. When it's subtraction here, then this is going to be addition. Okay, so keep that in mind also. Ellipses, it's the opposite, right? But it's always opposite. It's always if the equation is subtraction, then the foci is addition. If the equation is addition, then the foci is subtraction. So with hyperbolas, this is always subtraction. This is always addition. Okay? Asymptote formula is going to be y equals plus or minus your b over your a times x. And remember, you always simplify that b over a. Okay? And then there's one new term in this lesson, and that is the transverse axis. Okay? And this feels a little bit like the major axis on an ellipse. What it is it's the distance between your vertices. Okay, the distance between the vertices. So we're going to do a few problems. One of them involves the transverse axis, which is why I give you that term right now. You don't have to graph these unless they say sketch a graph, then graph it. Okay? Yes.
Sorry, can you scroll back up for a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this first one, example number 1, says write the equation of the hyperbola given that our foci is at 0 plus or minus 5 and our vertices are at 0 plus or minus 2. So we're used to working with A, B, and C. Of those 3, which 2 do we have in the 5 and the 2? This is your C value. Yep, foci is always going to use the C. What is the vertex here? The vertex going to use? That's B. Whenever it's with the Y, that's your B value. Okay, now here's the deal. We know that our equation is either going to be x squared over something to start or y squared over something to start. It always starts with our vertices. So let's just think about where those vertices would be real quick. 0 plus or minus 2 would be here and here. Okay, I'm not actually going to graph this whole thing, but I just want you to see if those are our vertices, then your hyperbola is going to do something like this. We don't know the exact size of it because I haven't drawn the other part of it. That's okay. Don't worry about the rectangle. But we know it's going to look like this. And we know that our foci are here and here. Nope, I went to 4 instead of 5. Okay. That should tell you what letter comes first in your equation. Is it going to be an x squared problem or a y squared problem? Y. It's going to be y squared because our vertices are on our y-axis, okay? So it's going to be y squared over something minus x squared over something equals 1. Can you tell me either one of those somethings right now? What goes under the y squared? It's your b squared, right? And b we just said was 2. So 2 squared would give us 4. Okay, we also need a squared. That's what's going to go down here, and that's the one that we don't have right now. But you can find it pretty easily with what equation? The c squared equals a squared plus b squared, right? So c squared would be 25 equals a squared is what we're solving for, and b squared is 4. Okay, so to solve for a squared, we don't need a, we just need a squared. So all we have to do is take away 4, and we get 21 for our a squared value. That's what's going to go right there, and that is our equation. Okay, straightforward, right? Pretty much. There's not a whole lot more to it. Okay, example 2. And then I'm going to have you try example 3 on your own. So if you're moving faster than me, keep going to example 3. Your foci are at plus or minus 4. That 4 is what variable? That's your C. Okay. The vertices at plus or minus 1, 0, is that A or B? That is A. When it's your X value, that is your A. Okay. So if my vertices are with my A, is that going to be an X squared equation or a Y squared equation?
X squared.
X squared is going to go first because our A is with our vertices. So it's going to look like this. Okay. What goes here? That would be 1. It's your A value squared. 1 squared is 1. We need B squared here, but we don't know it. So we're going to do C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So that's going to be 16, 4 squared equals 1 squared, which is 1, plus B squared. Sorry. So simplify that, take away 1, and you get that B squared is 15. So that 15 goes right here, and you're done. Okay, write the equation. And like I said, if you feel better graphing it, you are welcome to graph it. I'm not going to graph. I mean, if you want me to graph, I'm happy to graph, but you don't need to graph these ones. All right. You try number 3. Figure out, is it going to be an X squared or a Y squared? How do you lay it out? What is your A squared value? What is your B squared value? Figure out that equation.
Do you like Led Zeppelin?
I like some of Led Zeppelin. I can't even think of, give me a song though, because I know
Stairway to Heaven.
yeah, that's it. I do not like that song.
Right. Cashmere? You know Cashmere?
You have to sing it for me. I don't- Oh. Sure, yeah. Guys, this is my, Led Zeppelin is like, I mean, that makes me feel really old. Yeah, Led Zeppelin was old when I was young, but they were still cool, you know? But yes,
Yeah, immigrants.
Yes,
I feel like it kind of got overused.
Yeah, in a lot of
Well, it's not annoying now. Yeah, it's still a really good song, but I feel like people only know it because of Thor.
Yeah,
No.
there's also another one.
Stairway to Heaven.
I did. It's one of the movies that they get, right? So like you can't like, we don't know the name of it.
It was Mitchell. I'm pretty sure.
It wasn't it?
Iron Man mostly has
Yeah, that's like, it's like,
that's your C, right?
What up?
Yeah.
is this right?
That's not wrong. It's the easy one that's wrong. You have a good number.
Are they flipped? So X-ray two?
Good.
Five.
Good.
5.
Yes. All right, let's do it. Oh shoot, I forgot to stop recording. Sorry if you're listening to this. All right, so this says write the equation of the hyperbola. Come back to me, right? So your foci is your C value. your vertice here, this is your A value. If it goes with X, it's A. If it goes with Y, it's B, okay? So that means we have to start with X squared because we have our vertices with our A value in the X position, okay? So X squared over something minus Y squared over something equals 1. A squared, did you figure it out, Nathan, what you did?
Yeah.
Should be 9. So it's A squared plus B squared, that is equal to your C squared value. C squared is 36. A squared is 9 plus B squared, so take away that 9. So B squared is 27. That's what goes here. And that is your answer. Questions? Okay, last one. If you checked out because you're like, I got this, you need to check back in now because this is where your transverse axis comes into play and this is new. Okay? Here we go. It says given the transverse axis is vertical, that's helpful, and 4 units in length, okay? Then you also have your central rectangle. This is the rectangle that you draw on your graph, okay? Your central rectangle is 4 by 6. Write the equation. What do you think? What do you know? Do you know A, B, or C?
Is B new? We know.
Yes.
We know
I do
What
know
is
what-
2?
B squared. A. Yes. Because no B.
Transverse axis is vertical and 4 units long. It is B.
Oh,
Who
so
said
it's
B?
That's-
So if the vertical is 4, right, this would be your transverse axis right here, which puts you at B being 2, right? Because you're going from 0, 0. So up 2, that's your B value, okay? It says your central rectangle is 4 by 6. So what's your A value? It's 3. You have to go 3 in either direction. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's your A value, which puts your rectangle here at 4 by 6. Does that make sense? Pay attention to that. So to write the equation, is this an X equals or a Y, sorry, X squared or Y squared first? Y squared, because your vertices are on your Y. So Y squared over something minus X squared over something equals 1. What's going to go here? That's going to be your B value squared, right? So that's 4. 2 squared is 4. What's going to go here?
9.
That's going to be 9. It's your A value, right? A would be this length. So you have an A value of 3. So 3 squared is 9, and that is your equation. Isn't that lovely? Yeah.
Specifically, do you like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin? It's got a cool
Is that a
drum.
song?
Yeah. Rock and
How
Roll.
does it go? I don't know names of
Okay,
songs
so-
at all.
The intro goes.